Hello, what's up, everybody? You're watching Luminous Nova, and welcome to another episode of World of Flow Arts. Today, I'm here together with Nick.
Hi there.
Hi. We are not in the fancy studio, I know, but it's a little bit of a hassle to set that up, and I do want to continue my series, so I thought let's do a cozy home session with a guest today. And in my previous episodes, I've been talking a lot about what's the difference between circus and flow arts, and therefore today we brought in a circus artist. First things first, we're going to do a little bit of an interview with a couple questions. If the chat has any questions, feel free to note them down. Knox, if you can mark them somewhere, we can at the end of the interview put all the questions of the chat out there, and then you can also ask whatever you feel like. But first, let's go through the questions. Maybe your questions will already be answered. So first things first, I just told you guys this is Nick. Do you also have an artist name, or how do you go by?
I don't really have a personal artist name actually. Mostly I'm just called Nick. My Instagram is Monkey Movement Acrobat.
Monkey Movement. Okay, nice.
So I guess that maybe my solo name. But I often perform with other people, and with other people I have names. So yeah, but then as the group or as a duo. Yeah.
Okay. And do you have a business name then? Is that also Monkey Acrobats or?
No, Circus Caravan.
Circus Caravan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Caravan, like the train of camels originally in the Sahara, which walk after each other and go from place to place. Because I had a mobile circus to perform and to teach.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I think we just have to get into a little bit of a history for you, because my series is mostly about flow arts, and flow arts is quite a new name, and a lot of the movements, sports, they originally come from the circus. So maybe, usually my first question is, how did you get in touch with flow arts? So maybe tell us that first, and then give us a little bit of a history timeline. How did you get into all of this?
Okay.
A lot of questions at the
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to see how I can spread the flow arts from circus.
Okay.
Because I think they kind of it was not that I first did circus and then went to flow arts. It just kind of weaved into each other.
Yeah, so it goes kind of hand in hand. Okay, so maybe let's start with how did you get into your job as it is now?
Yeah. As a kid, when I think I was already 4 years old, I started to do gymnastics for boys. Oh no, first for toddlers and then for boys when I was 6, I think. And my mother was actually a gymnastics teacher.
Okay.
She never did gymnastics on a high level, but she was just teaching at a club nearby. And yeah, I started to do that, and it was just very playful, playing around. And yeah, there I learned the basics in body control, gymnastics, how to use my body. And yeah, from this I kept on going with gymnastics until I was about, I think, 11 or 12, and then I started to do acro gymnastics in the same club.
Okay, but what is the difference between gymnastics and acro gymnastics? What is this?
Acro gymnastics means that you are or a duo or a trio or a quartet.
Okay.
And with that amount of people, you do acrobatics together. So you lift each other up. For example, if you're a bird on top of the hands.
Acro is short for acrobatics.
Acrobatics, yeah. If the English name is actually sport acrobatics, I think officially.
Okay.
And we in the Netherlands call it acrogym.
Acrogym.
Or acro gymnastics could be also.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And so I started doing that together, but I was still doing gymnastics once a week. Never in competition, but just for fun. And then acro gymnastics, and then to work together with people. I actually started in a men's 4 as the top little guy.
Yeah, you were the one thrown around.
Yeah.
Nice.
And the second, but we were with 6 people, because a lot of when you're with so many people, often people cannot be there. So I was sometimes I went to competitions with them, but sometimes the other guy went. So we alternated.
Okay.
And after doing this for some years, the last years I did it mostly together then with one girl. And every year after every couple of years you get a new partner because the partner becomes too big.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, then you get a very young partner, like most of the time like 8 or 9 years old, and you kind of train this partner. And then I got the opportunity to do acrobatic for adults, partner acrobatics, so more circus style, without the rules, without the competition. And actually, I realized that I like that much more. That I'm not such a big fan of competitions. Then it didn't make me feel so good. You have a lot of rules, so these rules, they, as I see it now, they limited me to actually being able to show myself. I was always somebody who kept himself very small. Found it very hard to show myself, and with acro gymnastics, there were the rules and how you had to do things, and this didn't help me like being more comfortable with showing myself. I think it helped me a little bit by actually just doing it, but by really being creative, there was not so much coming out there yet.
Okay, so you kind of need more freedom instead of like do this, do that perfectly, exactly like that.
Exactly.
It can be very like challenging indeed. Like a lot of pressure.
Yeah. And when I started to do partner acrobatics, I started to do it as a flyer with a bigger man who was carrying me then. And
okay, so the flyer is the person who literally flies. Wow.
Yeah,
okay, I like the name.
Yeah, and the base is the one standing on the floor with 2 feet or one.
Yeah.
3 or on a hand, but at least at the bottom.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, from like I was very happy. I was very lucky because there was a man, Edwin was his name, and he helped me out. Really, like starting from the basics, doing all the basic acrobatics. And because I did acro gymnastics and gymnastics, I could really fly through the whole beginning part and like still do all the steps. I was super happy with that. But yeah, in the end, I could go to the higher levels things.
Yeah.
What I forgot to tell before, like at one moment, I really got excited about handstands. And in gymnastics, handstands, everybody thinks that's a big thing in gymnastics. I think it's not such a big thing. They kind of do some handstands in between their exercises, but often very briefly. Like they kind of go through the movement and they continue. But really balancing in the handstand and then making movement with the legs and so it's not a thing for gymnasts.
No, for me, I know it from more like circus, yeah.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, as I was already a fan of handstands, I could transfer that to partner acrobatics. So I really like to do like handstands in hands and those kind of things. The discipline is also often called hand-to-hand acrobatics, the standing acro.
Okay.
So yeah, after doing this for some years, I met a girl, Fraukje, and yeah, we fell in love. And she was doing acrobatics since she was small because her mother was an acrobat.
Oh.
And yeah, we started doing acrobatics together. Me again as a base, as I did in acro gymnastics before. And then with an adult. Well, not an adult yet because she was 15, I was 19.
Oh yeah.
So I was an adult, but she was not.
Yeah.
And when we started to train, and it worked out very well. And from this we started to perform at one moment, more and more. And yeah, maybe also an important thing to tell. My mother was teaching the acro gymnastic groups, like from the first group on when you have no partner yet. Could be that some kids just stay there. It was called the Circus Hour. And what she did, like the last half hour, kids could choose between acro and circus. And but she just had some stuff, and she was not teaching it. Kind of. Sometimes she puts a little bit of attention in there, but mostly not. But one moment, maybe you guess, I started to do that when I was maybe 8 or 9. I have really no clue how old I was, but I started to just play there a little bit by myself, and then the kids who wanted to learn something, they could learn from me first by just doing, and later for like through learning from me, because I started to self-learn a little bit how I could learn things.
And what kind of objects were there? Was it like a diabolo and the ribbon, or like, because that's what I know from circus, the little plates that you have to spin around.
Exactly, all these things. Juggling balls.
Oh, juggling, yes, of course.
But there were also unicycles. Oh, yeah. And a big ball where you can balance on.
Oh yeah.
And some like all these kind of things.
Random objects.
Yeah. I'm quite curious if other people also have this experience from their childhood by like playing with these things.
Yeah, I mean, I got it in elementary school where
Yeah.
we had like a circus afternoon, and then I stood on one of those big red balls, and then I danced around with the ribbon a lot, and I know and I remember that moment where I was dancing around with the ribbon, thinking like, I already have an act just by like moving it. I'm like, I'm gonna perform this, you know. So I feel like that's where I kind of already had my first clue on I want to perform and do something with an object.
Yeah.
But after that, because I thought circus for me is something that has been taught to me that you need to do circus from the moment you were very young. And at some point I was like a little bit older in my 20s, and then I thought like I'm way too late to do anything with circus now. It's just too late, you know. And then through Flow Arts I actually discovered that it's actually never really too late, and you can start whenever you want, and your body can actually do way more in a short amount of time if you get the proper practice and training. But yeah, it's been interesting, you know, like this word circus has that meaning for me. And I mean, this is also why I am very focused on the word flow arts, because for me, I think flow arts might be a little bit more accessible and might actually get people more over the hump to do it. Because yeah, if it's not circus, like, yeah, some people just don't want to be in the circus. The number one comments that I get is like, oh, yeah, circus. Yeah, no, I can't do that with my body.
Yeah.
And that's not true. Today we're going to get a lesson for those who came in a little bit later. We're just a little bit in an interview right now. But we're going to get a lesson in some handstands later. If you want to join in from home, it's possible.
Yeah. And to hook into your story.
Yeah.
Or continue onwards, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Both. Yeah, I think, and that's also what I find very important through my company, and what I want to spread, as much as possible to as many as possible people, is that as well circus and flow art is both very accessible.
Yeah.
You can start with anything, and I think for me the highest goal in circus and flow arts as well is to enjoy, to have fun, to play.
Yeah.
And
yay! Have fun.
Yeah.
Have fun doing something. Yeah.
And with circus, it's accessible for everybody, literally. Like, it doesn't matter if you're very physical or not. I sometimes also go to special education schools with kids with physical problems, and this is actually very helpful for them also to actually learn to use some muscles, or to use the left and the right part of the brain together, to be a bit creative, and just to have fun by like throwing a ribbon around, or swinging something around, or just even having a plate in the hand. It's all about the success you get from it, and how it just makes your life more fun.
Yeah, I mean, anyone can enjoy it, and it's really cool that you also teach people with disabilities and also show them that like it doesn't matter like what the state is of your body, you can do something and you can have fun with it, basically. Yeah.
And maybe it's good to finish my story of like my
let's
whole
go
steps, like,
let's go
because
through the chronological order of Nick, acrobat, gymnast, acro, gymnast, performer. Now we are in the story performing with Vrouwtje, another acrobats.
And at the same time, when I met Vrouwtje, I started to study sports. Actually, when I met Vrouwtje, I already did I was in the middle of one sports study, and later I did a higher education in sports. And I became a sport teacher in a primary school by that.
Oh, okay, nice.
Which I also did for 7 years. And this is, for me, working very much together in the story. So I think it's important. I was still this shy person, like here, finding it hard to show myself. But when I started to perform with Vrouwtje, I started to dare a little bit, step by step, to show myself.
Okay.
And I'm 34 now, so this is like 15 years ago or so when this started. And like these baby steps to to become a performer as freelancer, and making most of my money through this, or half.
I was gonna ask you indeed, like, what does your week look like? You know, because you told me 7 years of sports teacher. So now, do you just perform, or like, what does your week look like?
I stopped 2.5 years ago with teaching sports to kids.
Yeah.
and actually did like 1 year of circus school there as a guest student, as partner acrobat. And yeah, how my week looks like. It's very very variable every week, because sometimes I have a week that I'm going somewhere for an acrobatic festival, or I just actually had a couple of weeks like that. Then I'm like during the week, I think averagely once or twice a week I go to a school or to an after school, or also to a place where I teach adults. But this is really varying per season. And like when there's holidays, I have a lot of circus teaching jobs. Also before holidays, when there's like celebrations, all these kind of things at schools, then it's like a lot. But I try to not do this more than twice a week, so I have more space to train and to do the administration also for performing. I think nowadays I have like about 2 performances a week, and
nice.
maybe sometimes 3, sometimes 5 or 6, sometimes even 7. So yeah, it really varies a lot. I try to train as much as possible, even though I'm just kind of like crawling out of the summer season, which is a very crazy season for performance. So yeah, there I didn't have so much time to practice as I wanted, but I went to circus conventions and flow arts conventions to learn, because then I can really focus on there. I just come from a poi retreat, where we did not only poiing, but I was also teaching acrobatics and handstands, and a little bit like that.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I mean, like I already know what your week looks like. Every week is something different. It's more seasonal. I feel like in the summer it's just all about performing, and then training is more about stretching and keeping your body healthy rather than actually like learning more. We do have flow art conventions. We got a lot these days. We have conventions, we have retreats. There's always a lot happening during the summer where you can learn through like various teachers from all over the world. Everybody travels everywhere, which is super exciting, but also summer gets very overwhelming because of that. I feel like most performers, they do train more during the winter when there's not a lot of performances, and that's the time where you can make new acts, where you can, work a little bit more on the skills that you might want to improve. And so with seasons, it kind of like changes what is more, what is more in your life and what is less.
Yeah, and how much time you have in your schedule.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's tough scheduling everything. And you also mentioned correctly, like administration of your business is also part of this, because you can't
selling
just
yourself.
Selling yourself,
so that people know you.
Yeah, and then I think that I don't know how it is for you. Like, how many groups are you part of? How many duos do you do? Like, I know you're part of Moving Fire Arts. You do shows with them. Now you're also part of Luminosity. We did a show together last, and that was the first time Nick joined in. That was really fun. But I think. Good. Yeah, as a performer, it's really something that you just kind of have to do. If you want enough work, you need to join many different groups. You need to partner up with many different people. But for you, like, when did for you flow arts come into place? Because we got your history now a little bit. So when did flow arts enter the biz? Like, was it already called flow arts when you did something with it?
No, like, there's some disciplines which are overlapping circus and flow arts, like hula hoop, for example. I did some hula hooping already in like when I started to teach the circus things, and I guess which other disciplines are poi was. It's often also when you have circus activities, there's also always poi there. I guess it's just because it's very accessible. At least my mother had like a pois in there as well. And so here I already did some basics of it, but I learned it myself. Okay. And nice. At one moment actually Frauke had a pair of fire poi because her mother was like crazy about going to flea markets and buying random things there. And then she bought this for Frauke. And I remember in like my garden in Amsterdam when I had my first place where I lived. We did some fire poi during the party, but I could like like do very basic
Do a
tricks, like a
weave.
3-beat weave
Yeah.
or 2-beat weave maybe even, I don't know, and some butterflies. So some very easy tricks, but we have fun.
Okay.
But I
So-
never heard about flow arts then yet. But I did
No.
some basic hula hooping and
I mean, the name is relatively new,
Mhm,
like it's
yeah.
just like now it's an accessible term, but like I feel like
Yeah.
15 years ago it was not a term really yet.
no, true. And then I went to psytrance parties, and here there were all these people like playing with LED toys and those kind of things, and just like on the beach at the main stage or other stages,
Mhm.
just like playing with their hula hoops or toys or whatever they wanted to play with their bodies. So that's what, yeah, I started to do it more and more as well. I learned to know the fire and flow community. I slowly started to do more of flowing as well. And then I went to Thailand 6 years ago or 7 maybe already. And there I learned like rope dart.
Oh,
And I bought my first rope dart and my first palm torches and my fire poi. And yeah, during
And then it was
that
on.
festival, it kept on going. Yeah. And then I actually, Frauke was there as well in Thailand. We did we started to combine acrobatics and fire. And yeah, that worked out very well because not so many people are doing that. So it's quite a new thing. And yeah, that was great to be
Yeah.
able to bring something new into the market. And yeah, to just have fun with the possibilities it gave, to combine these things together with each other.
Yeah.
And then when we got back, we made a performance and we started to to combine it. And then Moving Fire Art, which is based in Belgium, a fire group. They also combine acro and fire, and they invited me to join their group. And from then on, I started doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really cool the mixture. Like when I entered the flow art and the circus world in like performances like 2.5 years ago, I met all these people and I saw all these things happen. And for me, it was kind of like a confirmation of like, oh, people are just doing this like for a long time already. I didn't really clue in that mixing acro and fire was so new because like for me, the first impression was like, oh, this group does this. So I thought that everyone, that this has been around for a very long time, but it's actually not. So yeah, I find it very interesting myself as well. But yeah, you gotta pick your battles on what you want to learn and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how flow arts came into your life. Nice. So
Yeah.
what is your favorite flow prop?
Well, most of the times when somebody asks this to me, I say my body.
Yeah.
Because
Nice. That's the first for this answer,
Yeah.
I like hoop or poi or
yeah. No, really, my body is because I guess I also flow with my body.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I find it's such a hard question because I really like them all. Lately, for example, I started with dragon staff not so long ago.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if you know what it is. It's like a staff with like
wicks at the end.
yeah, or a circle, a ring, or wick in the end, on both sides, which make it roll slower than a staff without something.
Yeah.
And because of that, you can like let it roll over your body and like all the way everywhere. And yeah, I started doing that, so I'm not very expert in this, but I really enjoy this a lot right now. But I also I like double hooping or solo hooping as well, but mostly with isolations. I really love. Boy, I'm very much into. Like my first prop was rope dart, I guess, and I really still love rope darts. But I know, like I'm not so motivated anymore to practice it that much.
Okay, yeah.
But it's always fluctuating, I think, like how much you practice a prop. You also don't have time for anything. So
yeah, you gotta make choices, especially as a multi-prop artist. If you do too much of everything, then you never really get good.
Yeah.
Just like fiddling around. You really need to like, I don't know, focus at least a little bit on one to make something out of it. But yeah, I also want to ask you the question that I also ask everybody else, because you're actually doing a lot of circus and now also flow arts came into your life. So what for you is the difference between circus and flow arts? Like, what is the difference?
Yeah, that's that's question. Well, I think for me, it's hard to see a difference. I guess it's mostly the mindset on how you do it. I yeah, and there's just so many like different things which come to my head why which is what, but it's like not making sense also.
Okay.
Because for me it just feels so much the same. But maybe like circus comes from people who traveled around and like lived in circus families. And back in the day, circus was only accessible for people who were born in a circus.
Yeah.
And nowadays, of course, accessible for everybody. So I guess before circus was something that you do professionally or not. And
Yeah. Okay.
which makes it that you have to do it on a high level. You will like work towards the hardest possible trick. Like what is the difference between flow arts and circus is like there are different disciplines, but I think through the mindset, like I just said like what's my favorite flow prop, and then I said my body, and I do acrobatics with my body, which would mostly be considered a circus discipline, but because I flow with it, I think it's also a flow art to do handstands and move with your body, or do acrobatics and move with your body. So yeah, I guess people who do like circus also for performing and so it feels like they're a bit more strict and a bit more scheduled, or I don't know how to say it, like not that it's better or not, or that you become a better person, to my opinion, by only focusing on one thing and really focus on the high goal. But yeah, because I think if you also change from style, like from discipline to discipline, that doesn't mean that you don't get better on the other discipline. It's often means that you actually grow. When I don't know, play with my hoop for a long time, I actually also learn new things for my double staff or so.
Yeah, true, for sure.
Which then overlap.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess mostly the style. Like circus has a bit more rules, flow arts a bit less. But circus already has much less rules than gymnastics, for example.
Oh, that's interesting as well. Yeah, because oh yeah, sure. It's probably soaked in right now. Tea pouring noises.
Most calming sound in the world.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All right, back with some tea. Yeah, so that's a really good explanation as well, because I've also thought about this a lot. Like, I don't know much about circus, because for me it always seemed like this like unreachable thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I really enjoy the fact that you're also bringing it to people and making it like, hey, this is actually accessible these days. You know, it's not just like you have to be born into it anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that whenever I did hula hooping, I started noticing the difference, because then at some point I was like, I'm gonna do circus hula hooping.
Mm-hmm.
So I think circus is now just
like
a style.
Five hoops.
Five hoops, exactly.
Yeah,
It's a style. Like
circus
is more focused on skill and like really like pushing human boundaries with what you can do with something.
Mm-hmm.
And flow arts is more about how do you feel with it? What do you do, and how does your body move? And that's why I like the what you said about the body as well. Mm-hmm. The body is both circus and both flow arts as well. So I think it's more about what you identify yourself with and what kind of like your goal is with the movement. If your goal is to be the best skill-wise, you're gonna be a circus artist. But if your goal is to, have fun and just kind of like, focus on flowing, then flow arts is the thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard because
like enjoyment, I guess.
Yeah, but we're also saying like circus is also fun and accessible. So now I'm like, if you're
I know
circus,
that's what my mind did just now. Yeah, like crashing.
Yeah,
and also because you could say flow arts is more accessible for everybody, but actually circus is also. Because that's what I'm bringing to everybody.
Exactly. Yeah, but it is accessible, but it's a style. Like you need to want to train a certain amount of hours per day to reach certain goals. And I think that for circus there's more training involved than for flow arts.
Yeah,
even
like,
though it could both intertwine still. Like,
Yeah.
this is why I ask this question a lot, because I find it very interesting to kind of like view these different terms and also to kind of like also have a better understanding yourself, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I hope that's clear.
Yeah, I hope that's clear. Yeah.
Probably it makes more question marks in the head, but in the end, maybe to push it all together, it like doesn't really matter how you call it.
Exactly.
As long as you enjoy it.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. Just pick up an object and do something with
Yeah.
it.
All rules are made up.
All
anyway.
rules are made up anyway. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so I have one final question, and that is, well, both for circus and flow arts then together, since we say like it doesn't matter how you call it. Where is circus and flow arts going to be in 50 years from now?
50 years from now, yeah.
Yeah. What do we? Yeah.
Mhm.
What can you imagine?
Well, I already see that so many people.
Oh, we just got
Yeah.
rated. Oh my gosh, Fee. Thank you so much for the raid. Let's pause the question for just one moment. Welcome in, everybody. You are watching Luminous Nova. We just got a wonderful raid from Fief. If you don't know Fief yet, she is a streamer here on Twitch that plays all the best video games, has the most kind and like amazing personality. And I am lucky to call her my friend as well. Oh my god. Yes, we have a guest stream today, Fief. But everybody, if you don't know Fief, click the heart at the top of the screen because there's a shout out happening right now. You don't want to miss this amazing community. There's a collab happening soon. It is unlocked on the channel, so you know I'm gonna go to Fief soon again to stream together. And for everybody who came in with the raid, hello and welcome. I am Luminous Nova. I am a variety streamer here on Twitch. I'm mostly DJ. I practice flow arts and I make art. I also play video games, but mostly offline. We do together in the Discord. And yeah, today you're visiting a very special stream because we have a guest here.
Hi,
This
I'm
is
Nick.
Nick.
Thank you.
Nick is an acrobat, a circus artist, and flow artist all together. So we're having a little bit of an interview. We're just reaching the last question of the interview, and then we're going to get into some action here. So if you want to learn everything about handstands, stick around because I'm going to get a lesson, and you can join in from home as well if you feel like.
There.
If you dare, yeah, you're gonna get all the tips and tricks. And yeah, if you wanna learn more about Nick, circus, acrobats, and flow arts, then be sure to already check out my YouTube channel because I will put the recording on the YouTube channel. Hey, MT. Thank you so much for dropping that 25 streak. Holy damn. Anyways, Fief, I hope your stream was amazing. I wish you a lovely day. I don't know if you have to raid and run and relax a little bit, but I'm going to be continuing on the interview. Normally on my streams, I'm a bit more interactive with the chat, but right now, since we're in an interview and a special, I'm going to continue with that. We have a final question, and then we're going to get into some movement here. So yeah, enjoy and feel very welcome. So yeah, we've been talking about circus and flow arts, and my final question for Nick was, how do you see, or where do you see circus and flow arts in 50 years from now?
50.
50.
Yeah.
Because we still need to see it, you know, like I hope we can make it for another 50 years in our lifetime.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah, that's the first question.
But then we'll be grannies and we'll be like with our like things like, oh, look at what they're doing now. Oh my god, that trick. Oh, people were working on that 50 years ago. Yeah. Or something. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting question. A lot of images come into my mind and a couple of different possibilities.
Yeah.
But I think that like I said before, circus back in the days, and that's maybe even just like 20 or 30 years ago, or maybe I think actually 30-40 years ago, circus was not so accessible yet for anybody, and this made a very big leap. They said it well, leap.
Yeah.
A jump, very big jump, and it feels like it's still growing. Circus, you have a lot of, at least in the Netherlands, there's a lot of circus schools for children where they can learn to do circus from when they're quite young already. And yeah, lately the level of circus performances has been growing. I really, yeah, that's kind of like with a lot of sports, but I think, yeah, especially because it's got more and more known, and I just really see it growing, and also with the flow art. Yeah, I just spoke with somebody a couple of days ago who did point spinning 25 years ago, or 2025, and she said there were like only the very basic moves everybody did, and there was not such a big community, and of course not an online community, because now I can just type in YouTube like an advanced poi trick, and yeah, I just get
You get it.
a lot of
Tutorial.
choices, like a tutorial which I can learn from, and I can go to these poi retreats and learn from the masters, and yeah, it's very cool. It's so I think there is a big possibility, especially with flow arts, because it's coming up more and more, that the level is going to raise, and that people are going to get enthusiastic, and I hope that it's not going to be too commercialized in a way, or too, like, for example, what you see sometimes with the Olympics, and with games with rules, and that I hope it's not going to be like a competition sport, because yeah, that can, I think, ruin for me sometimes the culture of a of a sport, or a, how do you say, like flow arts or circus, for example. It can ruin that. You see it a little bit happening with breakdancing. The whole culture behind it is not so much there anymore, when you just have to do breakdancing for rules, like artistic rules. I don't know how that is actually possible,
Yeah.
because you have taste, and that's the reason why there's not so much taste anymore in style, because it has to, yeah, apply. You have to apply to those rules. So yeah, so I hope it's going to grow, and I hope a lot of people are going to have fun with it, and yeah, make it their lifestyle. And it would be cool if we walk around the streets and everybody's just like juggling balls while they're walking, because yeah, they figured out. Also, like, research is getting more and more understanding about how important moving is, and moving creative with the body.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think this is if this gets more and more popular, then I think people will start to move much more creative. And I hope that, like, gyms would be also a bit more creative, and that there's also just a possibility to have a place where you can dance in a gym, and
Oh
or to
yes,
just do
please.
flow arts or hula hooping. That's just accessible for everybody. But people have to come a little bit out of their shell to be able to do that, because it's always also, it's weird. It's in the beginning, like for now.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah, it's something that you need to cross the boundary for, you know. It's like, oh, I'm doing something different than the rest of the people, and yeah, it would be really nice to see everybody moving and dancing with the object of their choice. And man, I mean, can you imagine just like having, you know, as you had popular ballroom and Latin dancing, you just have like flow art schools as like, or well, I mean, in the dancing schools, there just has to be, you know, just as you have ballet, just you have belly dance, just you have jazz ballet, there needs to be circus and there needs to be flow arts and different props, you know, it would be
Yeah.
really nice. It doesn't have to be a flow art only school, because I think that part of a flow art school should also be the body work. So practicing a dance style without an object is like really good to enhance your flow as well. So it kind of like goes hand in hand together. And yeah, it would be nice to see that as a proper dancing, yeah, just like part of our society, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
But maybe the right wing is going to take over, and people are going to be scared to be able to flow and be creative.
Let's not give in to our fears. Let's be hopeful. All right, so right now that was the final question that I have. So now there is a chance for the chat here. Do you have any questions for a circus acrobat flow artist called Nick? Perhaps in the same school as you attend for acrobat, they also teach flow arts there. Yes, something like that for sure. Like it could literally be anything. Like if you have the space, the only requirement for flow artists and circus people is a high ceiling, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there are already things like this. These centers where you can,
Yeah.
like, especially in Thailand, in Pai, for example, there's a new circus center which combines like circus and Flow Arts as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I think I've heard about this. I think Lisa went here.
Probably. Yeah.
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, we have a question here from people. What is your favorite thing about the circus culture?
Well, my favorite thing, there's like, I guess, two main things which are most important for me. And one is the community. Like you meet fun people who also like to play with their body and with props, and you just go to places together, or training spaces, or the park, or to festivals, and you just inspire each other and play together. You connect with each other. So that's the one thing. And I guess for me also just being able to, yeah, be kind of like combining health with my passion and my job. Yeah, that's pretty awesome about it. So I'm having a healthy lifestyle and also doing yoga and handstands and acrobatics and then the flow arts, and I think it's all adding up to health. And yeah, that's important for me.
Nice. Okay. Is there still a prop you haven't tried yet and want to try out?
Yeah, tried out a lot of props, but there's like one thing which is called the Wheel of Death. I don't know if you heard about it.
Wheel of Death.
The Wheel of Death. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
We're
like-
in Spooktober Halloween month, so
Okay.
yeah, this is fine.
Imagine this is like a hamster wheel, which is the size where I can be in, and there's one here, and there's like crane, and there's one here, and in the middle it's fixed like a merry-go-round, and then people get in, and then you start walking, and by walking it starts to turn, and at one moment it gets so much speed you can also walk on the top, and it gets more and more speed, and you can make flips and those kind of things, and well, yeah, you can also just walk on it, and I would love to be somewhere where they have one of these things. It would be awesome. And
We know somebody.
oh yeah,
Mira.
Mira has a wheel of that.
No, he was in it.
Oh yeah, the
He
one that.
performed in Czech with
Ah,
it. So if you ask him, like, he wants to do that show and bring it here. So
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
you need to like
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
him. See, yeah. Because that would
Ah, he
actually
was
be
talking about it,
possible.
but I didn't realize it was actually a wheel of that.
I think so. I think
Ah.
at least that's what I'm picturing, because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
might
yeah.
not be 100% sure, but I think that is it.
Yeah. I've seen this thing in Rostov.
Yeah.
But then I went in it, but it was just like a very slow one, so you had to just walk and go very slow. But maybe they just controlled it so everybody could get in it.
Yeah.
Because if I want to get it, like the next time, I would love to like make some speed and be able to jump and feel like being airless. But
Oh my
they're
God,
very
that's
scary.
amazing.
I actually heard a guy falling off it who was working with a colleague from me, and that was pretty intense during a show in the circus. So yeah. Not risking too much. I also have quite sensitive knees and a lot of knee injuries, sadly. So yeah,
Yeah, this is another thing that might be like handy for people to know. Like, if you do this much with your body, like, how does that go? Like, you say I live a healthy lifestyle, but yeah, you had some injuries as well. So like, how was that for you? How did that go in your life? I mean, was it just accidents or like, yeah?
yeah, they were a bit silly. Like during my first sport education, we had like a competition day with basketball, and very randomly, like when we scored, I like lifted up like a very heavy classmate, and then I started to jump, and I kind of went a little bit through the knee, and later it snapped. Yeah, the ACL snapped. This got repaired, and then I don't know, just with very like not so
Silly
much luck,
things.
very silly. Yeah,
Yeah.
like one trick was I was catching Praukje, and then I just went through my knee in a kind of like a squat position, which is supposed to be very safe for your knees. And then I had weak knees, so it happened afterwards very fast as well, like 2 times. It was just like a kind of a misstep, and yeah.
Yeah, it's
Very
weird.
unlucky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the injury, like my injury last year was also stupid. I literally just
Yeah.
made a jump in the air and then it cracked. And I'm like, I am jumping like this for most of my life, and
Mhm.
now it suddenly cracks, you know? So yeah, it's, you can
Yep.
say that the job is risky, but yeah, you can only train yourself as far as you can train yourself. And for the rest, I think it's mainly just luck. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, well, I really changed the way of moving my body, because
Yeah.
with gymnastics, the how do you say, the pressure, or the stress on your joints is very big when you have these like short impact movements like flips and so. So I'm not really doing that much anymore. I do a little bit of jumps, but like more the soft jumps and more acrobatics on my hands and floor work and those kind of things. And yeah, I think it's good because it's much more. It feels like it's made. My body is more made for that, and I think you see it with gymnastics a lot that bodies are just ruined after their career. So
after their 30s, it
yeah,
kind of like stops, and then it just
well,
like
20s even. Like if you go very like full on, like the top for gymnastics is actually 15, I think. The best girl gymnasts are 15. I think for men it's more like 20, beginning 20. But yeah, it's
damn, that's
insane.
crazy. Yeah.
Just like wear off the body. So
Yeah, so let's be a little safer and just be able to practice this all lifelong.
yeah. So it actually just changed the way of moving for me. The injuries. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like a lesson where you learned. That's how it goes. All right, well, thank you so much for answering all these questions.
You're welcome.
This was a nice get to know Nick.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's time to get moving. So I'm gonna put on a little bit of music in the background, and then I do need you guys to tell me if the sound is like echoing through the microphone, because in the beginning what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get a little bit of a lesson from Nick. Oh no, wait, we're gonna first do the front.
I thought so. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, never mind. Reverse. Okay, so first things first, I'm gonna put on some music. Let's give Nick a little bit of free flow showtime, see what Nick has to offer here. Yeah, let me just put on some music, and then after that we're gonna get into a lesson, and I'm gonna do some handstands. If you want to join in from home, feel free to do so, because we're gonna get all the explanational tips today. This is amazing. But first things first, let's flow a little bit.